Hey everybody, it's Connie and welcome back to my channel. Oh my goodness. Today we are working on a piece that I actually had a dream about. And today outside it's very misty and rainy, and this piece kind of looks like that. So let's get started. Well, let's get started on this necklace. There are a lot of moving parts to this necklace. And since it was a dream, it's probably going to be hard for anybody out there to be able to duplicate this exactly because of the types of stones and things that are in it. And I've had some of these for a while, so being able to find them again may not be real high. However, if you have stones or wood or whatever, acrylic, it doesn't matter. It's the overall concept of what this looks like is what we're going for. So maybe approach it like that if you kind of get frustrated not being able to find marble. Okay, so these pieces right here are a 30 by 32 marble. It's a blue-gray marble, and I've had these for a while. You can find marble pretty readily online, so just look around, but you can use any kind of bead that's like that. Okay, we got the marble, and then I've got the hematite. This is an 8 millimeter hematite stone. You can also use hemalike. Hemalike is man-made. Hematite is the actual stone. But these are 8 millimeter hematites. These will be some finishing stones. These little guys right here are also hematite. I forgot to. They're rondelles. And they are an 8 millimeter rondelle and hematite. And so I'm using those as accents. Then these are a bead cap, and they are, golly, I'm falling down on my job, aren't I? They're a 10 millimeter bead cap, and if you'll notice, they're very thin. They're not real heavy in metal. They're pretty thin because I'm going to bend those to fit each stone individually. But these are about a 10 millimeter. They're almost flat. Almost. There's not a whole lot of a dome to them. Okay. Then you will need some of these. These are oval jump rings. They're about a 12 millimeter jump ring. And you'll need at least 10 of these if you're trying to do the 5-strand. Then these little guys are about a 4 millimeter jump ring. I may or may not use these, but then again, I might. I'm toying with something and an idea with it. Then these guys right here are like a accent filler bead, and they're large hole, and they're a 10 millimeter by a 7 millimeter large hole. You can see there, and they're filigree, so they've got a lot of little holes in them, but I'm thinking about using this as an accent. I don't know yet. I may or may not, but I've got it anyway. Then we've got an 8 millimeter large, a 7 millimeter large hole silver accent bead. Then I've got some crimps and crimp covers right here, crimps and crimp covers. Then I have 2 different kinds of chain. Both of them are just like a cable, nothing fancy. You can use whatever chain you want and make it as fancy as you want. Okay, but this one's a smaller cable, and I've got about 16-17 inches of this. Then I have a larger cable, and I have probably twice as much more of it. Because this piece is going to be wrapped around some of the stones, so I need a lot more of it. And so this one is a 24 6, about 32 inches of that. Then I've got a beautiful five holer here, clasp to run my stuff on. It's a hook and eye, so very easy to maneuver, very easy on the neck, and weighty enough to carry the weight of these stones right here as far as look and size. Okay, and then the last thing, you will need some AccuFlex or Softflex beading wire. I normally use a 49 strand. This one's a 21. These stones are heavier, so they don't have to be, the wire doesn't have to be quite as soft. But anyway, some of that. Okay. You'll need a ruler maybe. And obviously some cutting tools and crimping tools and things of that nature. Crimping tool, cutting tool, or flush cutter, either one. Flush cutter would be this one, would be a flush cutter. And then these are to open jump rings and things of that nature. Okay. All right, let me get my head around this and we'll get started. All right, I'm gonna do my hardest to keep this at a 30-minute video, but that may not happen. I don't know. But anyway, I measured out enough beading wire for each one of these strands, and I'm gonna do my hardest to keep this one at an 18 and this one at a 17. I think it will be beautiful on the neck at those lengths. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bead this outside strand right here. So let me get my beading wire. I'd already cut it, so let me get the longest one. Trying to save a little time here. All right. Let me get a little clamp so I can hold everything on there so that it doesn't slide off. All right, first thing we are going to do is we are going to put a bead cap on. I'm going to be working from this side over because it's a no-brainer pattern. What I've done here is this is my middle stone, and I've got two hematites on either side going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sections of the two hematite. Then I go into single ones right here. And I did the same here on this strand, except I didn't do, I think I did one less, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, two less of these because this is a shorter strand. So let me start here. We're going to put this on here like so. Bring it down here. I'm going to put the next one on like so. I'm going to move some of this chain out of the way and some of this out of the way. I'd already laid out the pattern just for quickness of the video. I'm going to continue on here with this. Oh, I've already made a mistake. Stop. All right. We need a bead cap. Then we need the stone. Duh. I don't know if many of you dream things or not. I do quite often, and sometimes you'll dream something and you'll go, "Oh snap! How do I do that?" So sometimes you just have to really, really think about it. Okay. Get your head on, Shaw. Get your head on. All right, here we go. Let's back up. You have to think about it sometimes because you just kind of go, oh, how do I do that? But that's really a good thing to try to get your brain moving on how to create something that's maybe either that you've never seen done or trying to come up with a really creative way to make something that's not the norm. That's my thing. All right, so you can see we've beaded here. This is what the pattern is going to look like. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the strand, and then we'll come back and we'll fit these bead caps to each stone individually. Okay, you bead yours, I'll bead mine. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, before we fit the bead caps to the stones themselves, I went ahead and finished stringing the first strand, the longer one. This is the shorter strand that's going to be about a 17-inch roughly. Anyway, I'm coming down here to the middle, and I wanted to make sure you knew what I did. And this is something that I do fairly often if I'm doing a double or triple strand of anything, or 5 strand, whatever. Unless you intentionally want all the stones to pop, 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 and line up 1, 2, 3, that's okay. But what I do normally, and there is no right or wrong on those decisions, just so you'll know that, it's just a personal preference. I kind of like mine to stagger for interest. So on this central piece right here, you can see that the middle piece is this one right here. That is right smack in the center of the necklace. So I am on this one, like this would look, it's going to look like this. So I'm coming down here with this second strand, and I'm putting on my bead caps. Da da da. All right. And so now I'm down to the middle of the necklace. And instead of having a stone right smack in the middle this time, I've got these 2 beads, which will stagger the look. And let me get them strung on here, and you'll see what I mean. And like I said, there is no right or wrong. You can stack them exactly if you want to. But I think a lot of times it adds a little more interest if you can make things kind of look staggered instead. But that's just my personal flavor. You can do it any way you would like. And it's just like with stones. If I have stones that have variances of color like these do, I try to get my biggest bang for my buck in color right up front. So I try to take the deeper tones or whatever is occurring naturally in the stone, and I pick those out and really focus on those to be up front for the most color. Okay, let me stop here just for a second. All right, so I said this was the center stone right here. Let me push it up just a little bit so you can see a little better. All right, so I'm coming around here. And instead, like I said, instead of putting a center stone here, which would look lovely any way around, it's going to look good, I did the beads this here on to stack on top of this. So it makes all of these stagger all the way up. It's just my personal preference. You do what you want to do. I'm going to finish beading this, and then we'll come back and fix those bead caps. All right, so this is the center of the beads. Let me move my eyes here. Hopefully I'm in the screen here on some of this. I haven't been able to see it. But I'm just going to show you up really up close. I'll let Ken zoom in on this. But you can see the caps right there are sticking up. This part of the cap is sticking up. So right here. So you don't want to leave that up there like that. Number one, it's not as pretty. And number two, whoever's wearing this, it's going to drive them crazy. It's going to itch or scratch or whatever. And it may even catch their clothing they're wearing. So what we are going to do is we're going to take our little tool, this little guy right here, and we are going to gently mash these down to fit the top of the stone. That's what we're doing. Now I've got them clipped off on the end pretty tightly so that they don't slide around a whole lot. But we'll see here what goes easy. All right, I'm going to hold this guy and I'm going to bend him just slightly like that. get it started. And then I pushed my finger down and pushed it all the way down. Can you see that? Hopefully you can. All right, and it fits sideways like that. You can see how it fits snug on the top of that stone. All right, let me do this and we'll do the next one. Flip it over. I'm going to take my tool, I'm going to roll it down about halfway down. You can hold it on the other side if you want to, because these are pretty large bead caps and they're thin, so they're not real hard to maneuver. You can almost, once you got them bent, you can almost mash it with your finger. All right, and there's the next one. You can see how it's folded down on there. So if you're ordering bead caps to do something like this, make sure they're not real thick. These, I actually found these bead caps in a large package, and I buy them all the time because I do a lot of things like this. I found these at Michael's, and they will come in two or three different sizes within the package, and it's like a package of 100 or something. Very worth your while to go purchase them. They have them in gold as well. I wish they had them in copper because I use a lot of copper, but they don't. But I will probably show you a tutorial on how to change the color of that in the future. So anyway, but back to this. I'm going to grab the side of the bead cap. I'm going to bend it down, and then I'm going to take it and mash it with my finger like that. And if you don't have the strength in your hands to do it, you can take your tool and just gently mash it. Okay, so there we are. Doesn't that look lovely? And it fits, it's a custom fit to your stone. And that's what we want. We want things to look custom. It's all about, that's what it's all about. And I do one-of-a-kind things. I don't duplicate things. I don't duplicate anyone else's work. So I get inspired by other people's work, but I very, very rarely, I think I could probably count on one hand and have fingers left over where I've duplicated something. And that was mainly so I could learn the technique of what they were doing. So make things your own. Look how these are going. Oh my gosh, I've got a lot of them to do. So I need to get busy. If it's too hard for you to actually do it on the stone like this, take your bead cap, hold it like that, get another tool, and just barely bend it just enough like that where you can get it started, and then put it on the stone if that will help you to be able to maneuver it better. But don't bend it too far because you got to take into account the size of your stone. Okay. All right. I've got a string of these to do and another string over here to do. I'll be back. Okay, I just want you to see how beautiful this strand looks. Now maybe I can pick it up without it moving around too much. Now that I've got all the caps on this one done, oh my goodness, look how beautiful. Look how beautiful. And it just completely sets the stage for this beautiful piece of marble this marble's not highly polished. It's kind of a rough look to it, and the stone itself's not rough, it just looks rough, and I loved it. But the hematite here and this little bead cap focused on this makes that stone look like a totally different stone. Yes. So let me go do the other side. Okay, so I've gotten both strands done, and maybe Ken can zoom in on this. But what I'm doing now is because I have touched every one of these bead caps, and you know you have oils on your hands. So what I'm doing right now is, while I've got them where I can maneuver them really well, I am taking a polishing cloth and I am going through and I am wiping off as best I can any residual for oils from my hands. And then we'll flip them like this. And it's just a good thing to do when you're working with metals anyway. Um, just go ahead and take a little time and wipe off anything that you possibly can while you're working. Guys, I'm just saying, oh my gosh, look at this. It is stunning. Just like this would be beautiful. And this also will help your solidify the sizing of your caps onto your stones too, because I'm putting a little pressure on it. Now, because stones, even natural cut stones like this, are they have different thicknesses. That's just the way it is. So your bead caps are going to sit differently on each stone. So you may have, depending, like this stone is ultra thick right here. So this side of the bead cap shows a little more than this side. I'll flip it though. And now this side shows a little more than this one. And it's just um, the cut of the stone. I mean, it's just the way it is. This one's the thickest one in the whole entire necklace. However, if you're using an acrylic bead or something that is been pressed, like a Czechoslovakian glass or something like that, where it's exactly the same every time, you won't have to worry about that. Okay, so on to the next step. This is exciting. We are about to put the first strand, which is the longer one, onto your clasp. So what I've done here is, you can see I have added a finishing bead here onto the end of this, and then I added a bead cap. You don't have to do that, whatever you want to do. And then I attached it to the first part of the clasp here, the first little ring, covered it with a crimp cover so it looks completely finished. All right, so now we're going to take the other end of the necklace, this end, the other half, and we're going to connect the other end. All right, so what I'm doing here is, because this is such a long necklace, we want to make sure that we don't have any gap at the top of the clasp up here. So I am pushing down as much as I can to make sure it's tight, but I don't want it to buckle. So we kind of shake it and let the beads fall where they may. I'm pulling it out as far as I can here on my desk. You probably can't see that, but anyway, so we're going to go back down here. Let me keep moving them down, make sure I don't have any play in there that's going to cause it to have a lot of gap up here. All right, so the next thing you will do, you're going to put on the crimp. And we've done these a million times, a million times. Take the very end, put it through your clasp, run it back through the crimp, and you pull that crimp down and the clasp down. Now remember, make sure that in this little section right here, that you leave enough room that this can breathe. You don't want this so tight that this can't move freely, because it does mess with your um, wire. Okay, so we've got it down. And to me, this is the hardest part of the whole necklace, is this, as far as any necklace to me. All right, I'm going to pull a little more of the slack out. I got a little bit too much. Okay, making sure everything is flush. Don't want any play. I keep still getting play in here, so I'm trying to Tighten that up. Don't want any gap at the top. Take your time doing this. Do not get in a hurry. Just don't get in a hurry. If you do, you'll make a mistake. Okay, get your crimping pliers. If you're doing a tube crimp like I am, you want to mash it and then you're going to fold it. That's why you have the two little different grooves in the top of your plier there. The one in the back, the big one in the back, is to mash your crimp, and the little one in the front up here that has the little um, kind of grooves in it, that is to fold your crimp. So I'm going to take the back hole and I'm mashing it down, and it makes kind of a little dip in your crimp. Then I'm going to go to the front part and I'm going to fold that. All right. So that's folded pretty good. Then I'm going to take the excess here and I'm going to run it back through at least one bead. I don't ever clip my wire up here. That's why I always have excess that I can work with. And let's see if I can get this back through. That little bead cap has a tiny little hole in it, so this may take me a second. Come on. Keep going, baby. Keep going. There it goes. All right, I see it. It's trying to come out. All right, if it's doing that, let me pull this out right here. Come on. There it goes. All right, I'm going to run it back through here. And this is just one of those processes that you just can't get in a hurry with. Okay, I see it. Because I've got that bead cap on there that's folded. It's not hitting directly. There it is. All right. I'm trying to work it out of the other hole down there. It'll go through in just a second. There it is. All right. You're going to pull that, and then you're going to take flush cutters. You're going to cut it as close to the bead this as you can. All right. Oh, electricity almost went off. All right, so we got the first part on, like so. So it should look like that at this juncture. Okay. Going to the next section. The next step, once we've got both ends of this piece connected to the clasp, the next step is we're going to start adding the 3 center pieces here. 1, 2, 3, and that's going to be all of our chain where it's going to go. So the first thing I did was I took the oval jump ring and I connected that. Let me pull it up here so you can see it. The larger chain that I had a whole lot of, it's going to be wrapped around this right here. So I needed a lot more. So it's the next thing that goes on is the larger chain, and you can use whatever size chain you want. It does not matter, okay? But you're just connecting that at the top there with a jump ring right there. Should be fairly easy to see. And then connect it here. The smaller chain that I picked out will be my center piece between the 2 strands of stone. And so, same thing. I connected it with the big oval jump ring. You can use a round jump ring, just whatever's easier for you, or that you like better. But I connected it here. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is take the next one, big long strand here. It is going to be wrapped around this one. And so I'm going to connect it to this third piece right here. So I'm getting my tools here. I'm opening it up. And remember, once you get through working with this, to take your polishing cloth and wipe it down to get your oils off of it. This is probably the easiest thing on the whole necklace, is this right here. Okay, and we're hooking it onto the clasp. And I'm going to close it up. All right, that one has a hair bit of a gap in there, so I'm going to gently mash it so it'll close up all together. There it goes. All right. So right now your piece should look like this at this juncture. You've got the bottom line on. You've got the chain here that's going to wrap around this one. You've got your middle chain here that's going to be the accent between the two rows of stones. And then you've got your third chain here, which will wrap around this top piece right here. Okay. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this piece onto the clasp. Just like we did this one, we will do this one. Okay. I'm going to put the first one on, and then I'll come back and do the second one. Okay, I was about to get ready to show you guys how to put these last two chains, what we're going to do with the last two chains, but I had a Bob Ross moment. Okay, so I had put this piece of jewelry the way I originally had it. You remember I had a stone there as well? No, I'm sorry. I had two pieces of hematite right there. Okay. Once I put it on the bust in order to measure my chain, how far around I wanted it to go, I realized that when I got here to this part, there were the two pieces of hematite, and these two stones didn't have enough breathing room. And that is a common mistake using something this big. It happens all the time. Don't get frustrated if that happens with you. So what I did was I decided to go back and add this little section right here. And oh my gosh, I love it so much better. It actually shows off the chain, and I've got two more chains that are going to go through here. So I have decided that I'm going to go back to this one. I'm going to take this stone out, and I'm going to mimic this one right here. I might have a bead or two more in it, but I'm going to mimic that here, and it's going to show off the chain so much better, and the way it lays will be so much more beautiful. And oh my goodness, I love the Bob Ross moments. Oh goodness, guys. Like I said, I dreamed this thing, and I had no blueprint of anything I'd done before that might make it easy. So anyway, I'm going to go back and change those, and then I will come back. But if that happens to you when you're working, don't get all frustrated and go, "Oh my gosh, I should have known." Sometimes things happen even to people who've been doing it for years. It's like, "Oh my goodness." Just call it a happy little accident. It's a Bob Ross moment, and keep moving. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go back and take this little guy out and put some of these little guys in. And yes, I'm so excited. I'll be back in a bit. Well, we are finally on the tail end of this project. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I went back and I took out that center stone right there. Remember, I had them stacked earlier, but I failed to leave enough breathing room in here when I got down to this part. So when I redid this, I loved this so much, I decided to go down here and redo this piece too. So it's like I was saying, it was a very happy accident. Okay, so the center chain right here is already connected. So the only thing we have left to do is connect these two. All right, so what I am doing is they're up here on the top. Let me go around here and see if I can get to them. Okay, so you see I've got all three of them connected there. I am just going to grab them like this. I'm going to gently pull them around like this. And I'm going to go up here on this other side. I want to see about where I want them to hang is going to be about right in there, roughly. That's what I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to this side. And you see where that single jump ring is right there? I am going to clip the two that are in my hand right at the bottom of that jump ring right there. So I'm hoping I'm holding this steady enough. I'm going to clip the two in my hand to match the one that's hanging there. Okay, so let me back out. That, and you can adjust these before you do that, just however you would like. Okay, so I'm going to do that and then I will be back. Okay, so I measured out where I wanted this to hang. So I'm just going to take my pliers there and I'm just going to clip that one link. Just like that. And there is the amount of chain that I need. Okay. So the next thing I am going to do is take my oval jump ring and I'm adding it on. You can use a round one if you'd like. Now I'm going to take this and connect it to the top of the necklace. Last thing. Oh my goodness. I thought I would show you what I did. Okay, I laid it down instead of putting it on a bust, just for people who don't have a bust. When you're getting ready to connect something like this, it is good to have a bust that you can put it on so you can kind of see how it's going to lay and all that. That's how I found my mistake that I made the first time. Okay, so last thing is you're going to get your jump ring here. And Ken, I'm not going to move this. You're just going to have to focus in on it and zoom in. But anyway, I'm opening up the jump ring. And like I said, you can use oval or round. It doesn't matter. I'm taking the end of the chain and I am just hanging it on there like that. Okay. Then I'm basically just going to come over here to this side right here. And I'm going to connect it to the very last loop that's available. Like that. And then I'm just going to close that jump ring up. And there it is. All right. We are done with this project. I do not know how long it took me to do it, but oh my goodness, I had no grid. So this is great. I love this. It will be in the shop at theartisancompany.com if you're interested in it. If you have a dream or something, just lay it out and see what you think it might look like. You never know what you're going to come up with. So I'm excited. I will see you on the next project. Bye.